tribu, welcome to Pairfect. I am Dinah Ventura. So right now I'm missing my Pairfect co-host Jojo Silvestre, who's in Tagaytay. She was 12 years old. She's been practicing law in America and is an expert on immigration law. Let's welcome U.S. Attorney Marlene Gonzales. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Welcome to
Thank
Perfect.
you for having me.
So how are you? What time is it there? And where are you right
Pretty
now?
good. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah,
Mm-hmm.
where my main office is, and it's midnight here, but I'm a night owl. I usually sleep between 1 and 2
Oh wow.
a.m. because I usually have a lot of work.
So lucky for us, we caught you. Thank you for
Yeah,
thank you for making time for our show.
you're welcome.
So Attorney Marlene, you moved with your parents to Los Angeles when you were 12. What was that like for you?
Yes. It was Los Angeles is a big city, and it was shocking for me at first because I pretty much had a sheltered life. I went to private school in Manila in Quezon City from kindergarten to sixth grade. I finished sixth grade, and moving to LA was a shock. It was cultural. It was a cultural shock,
In what way? I
but
mean, Manila's really quite urban already. So what was the difference?
well, the gangs
Oh.
and the graffiti
Mm.
and the unruliness of the school kids, and coming from a private school in Quezon City, I was just like, oh my gosh, these kids are terrible. But I transferred to a different school. After that, I went to a different high school, which was nicer than my junior high school.
Okay, so there was a change. What about your parents? Why did they decide to move to the States? And
So
how
ang
did they
mami
adjust
ko, pwede
also
ako
to
mag-Tagalog.
America? Oo naman. Paano sila din nag-adjust sa Amerika?
Uh, so ang mami ko, she was a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and it was her dream. She was one of the first nurses, when immigration opened up in the US. So she came here and started working as a nurse, and she wanted the economic opportunity that the United States offered.
Mm-hmm.
And so she brought my dad. My dad was a colonel in the Philippine Army,
Mm-hmm.
and this was during martial law, and
Okay.
we left the Philippines, uh, to uh, for my mom. She thought this was a better place to have economic opportunity.
Okay. Was it hard for them to did they adjust? Did they have a difficulty adjusting to the life there or?
Yeah, I don't think my mom so much because she had worked here 4 years already bago kami nakarating.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad, he was humble.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a colonel, be a colonel, he took on like
Oh,
clerical work,
okay.
and he just did that to, make good use of his time. But what they ended up doing is they ended up organizing the retired Army Filipino officers
Mm-hmm.
organization, and it
Mm-hmm.
was born in our house. That organization was founded in our
Okay.
house in Los Angeles.
Still alive until now.
Most of them have passed away already, but both my parents have passed away, and that group also have passed away, most of them.
Okay. No, I meant the group. I mean the organization.
I would think so.
Okay. That's good.
It's like, well, yeah, I would think so. Retired army, officers.
So that's like a legacy your dad left.
Yes, yes.
So I'm curious, 30. Were some of your experiences as a family the inspiration for you to pursue law? What?
Oh, yeah. So, first of all, my major was philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom didn't quite understand that, but I had to make something of philosophy. Either I became a professor or a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to take up law. when I was a stay-at-home mom. So I stayed at home for 6 years. I was just a stay-at-home mom, and
Mm-hmm.
I started having, children. And while I was a stay-at-home mom, I realized, well, wait, I got to listen to the news and more in-depth hearings. So I was listening to this nomination hearing for a Supreme Court judge nominee,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, wait a minute, like it was very important that they screened this nominee, right? Because they wanted to make sure that people's rights are protected.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, well, who are these people interviewing this guy? And they are the senators of the United States, who are, I think they're probably all lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I thought, well, wait a minute, people are making decision for me as I stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, no, 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 no. I have to be there. I have to take part because they're making decisions that affect my life,
Mm-hmm.
my family, and I want to be at the table. And
Mm.
ever since then, I, make sure that I am at the table. I've served in many organizations.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I'm I'm also quite curious about why you took up immigration as a specialization or a specialty for law, because I've learned that you're really passionate about helping Filipinos live the American dream. Why did you take up that cause or advocacy, first of all?
Because immigration is really it impacts people's lives. It impacts individuals and families.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, it's either some kind of civil rights, which immigration has turned into a civil rights case
Mm-hmm.
because of what's going on right now,
Yeah.
making sure people have due process, that they're treated fairly.
Mm-hmm.
So I started working as an immigration attorney when I worked for a nonprofit organization, and the funding that we have was mainly for immigration. And so I learned it and I enjoyed it and I stuck with it.
Okay. But tell me why is it so difficult for Filipinos sometimes, like, so that they need the the advice of lawyers or attorneys? What kind of
Yeah, kasi complicated ang immigration law, very
mm-hmm,
complicated. And sometimes when people work on their own cases, if they make the wrong turn, if they check the wrong box, that could pretty much deny their case. And they
mm,
will have spent money, a lot of money on a filing fee, for example, and then they have to go back to square one.
I see.
So, yeah, for the most part, immigration is complicated.
Okay. It has a lot of paperwork, I suppose.
Yeah, we
Documents.
waste a lot of paper.
So, attorney, what kind of cases do you get to work on?
I work on family-based cases, yung mga petitions by family members.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my cases are marriage-based. So when somebody comes here as a student or fiance, they get married, we apply
Mm-hmm.
for the green card. We also apply for fiancés to
Mm-hmm.
come to the United States. So I am contacted by the US citizen, whether it's a Filipino, naturalized Filipino, or uh, uh, an American born here,
Mm-hmm.
petitioning for spouse or
Mm-hmm.
parents abroad. I also help with a lot of some of the humanitarian visas,
Mm-hmm.
and VAWA, the Violence Against Women
Women.
Act, is one of my specialties, expertise, because
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 6 years at the
Wow.
nonprofit organization where I worked. And
Okay.
it is for spouses of abusive US citizens.
Wow.
Kaya
Sounds
minsan yung mga kababayan natin
mm,
dumadating dito.
parang
Tapos
seryoso yung mga
in-abuse
problema.
nila.
What
Yeah, serious, serious talaga.
can you give us an idea like what kind of problems are encountered by our kababayans in the US?
Yun nga, pag dumating sila dito, no, ng ano, they marry a US citizen,
Mm-hmm.
kung yung US citizen abusive, if the US citizen is abusive, usually part of the abuse is controlling and isolation. So it's hard for, this goes for men and women. It's not just for women, no, because men could be abused by their spouses also.
Mm-hmm.
So they get isolated and they don't know that they have rights.
I see. Wow. So that's your job. How do they find you?
That's the thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know, kasi if they have a friend, or sometimes it's the police.
Mm.
If they get abused physically,
Mm-hmm.
the police, and then the police finds out that they don't really have status here. The police don't try to deport them. The police would say, maybe you should talk to an immigration attorney. The police departments here have
Mm-hmm.
victim advocates
Mm-hmm.
that help the victims if they see domestic abuse, and if they see the person doesn't have status,
Mm-hmm.
they refer them to an immigration attorney to help them.
Okay. And I was wondering also if right now there's this big issue about Asian hate. Is that something that you also
Oh,
encounter right today, these days?
yes, yes. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
even here in Utah, we have
Mm.
one Filipino food truck that was vandalized.
Oh.
And yeah, and you know, it's this whole, and then the COVID, yeah,
I know.
during the Trump years, it things got worse.
Do you think there's a chance for it to improve anytime soon, or is this something that you have to advise your clients to be, I mean, to handle or address when, if necessary?
Yeah, unfortunately, so we have to tell them, you know, if anything happens, you should call the police.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you have rights and you shouldn't be treated that way.
Yeah, that's right. You're a mom as well as a lawyer, of course. And so, what are your concerns about life today that you feel that you need to be involved in?
Women's rights,
Mm-hmm.
because I have three daughters, and I actually have clients from Afghanistan. I'm doing a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
Afghan parolees who were allowed to come to the United States, and they're applying for asylum. And it's, you know, the rights of women in Afghanistan, they're pretty much non-existent, right? And
Yes.
so, yeah, for me, that's the extreme, right? And we don't want to go there as a country, you know, in the United States either. So it's important that we preserve or get better our rights as women.
Mm.
That's an important issue for me.
Okay. So women. What what other advocacies do you have specifically about women
What
or
other, pardon me?
advocacies? What else are
Oh,
you working
advocacies. Yeah.
for or passionate about?
Passionate about, well, equal justice, you know. And sometimes I do pro bono work for
Mm-hmm.
somebody who can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think that the law, I think people should be able to access the law
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their money. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think lawyers are only for rich people. So I've done a lot of pro bono work. I work with organizations that are nonprofit,
Mm-hmm.
and I serve my I serve the organizations as their lawyer, and that's
Mm-hmm.
pro bono.
Okay, wow, that's very, very good of you. I mean, I'm sure a lot of our kababayans would feel better knowing that there's somebody like you out there. But, attorney, anyway, we'll continue talking about your passions and your work and your family later on. But right now, we'll just pause for a short break.
Our steps can lead us to millions of doors opening, millions of paths unfolding, and millions of reasons to keep going. Now's the time to be with a network that gets better every day for you.
Iba ng panahon, dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ang bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it sa centers, pati sa mga parties, may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still phone remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayan.
Welcome back to Pairfect. We're still with attorney Marlene Gonzales. Hi, attorney.
Hello.
So we were talking
Hi.
about you doing pro bono work on top of everything else that you're doing, I'm sure. So
Yes.
what keeps you going? I mean, what fulfills you as a lawyer, as a person?
Service.
Mm-hmm.
Parang it's just doing the work that is needed to serve people, and I feel like I get energy from that because
Mhm.
I feel like I have been given time,
Mm-hmm.
I've been given energy, and the knowledge to help people. And what better use of my time that I've been given, the knowledge and the energy that I'm given.
Right, and the talent and all the opportunities that I'm sure you've gotten as a person, right? All these
Yes.
privileges that you also got to enjoy. It's really nice just to hear about someone giving back to the community like that. But
Yes.
I really can't imagine what kind of days you have. I mean, are you very busy? Tell me about your regular day.
my my days. You don't want to know about my days. So 9 to 5, ano?
Mm-hmm.
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Yung mga my appointments are every hour.
Wow.
So I have a lunch break, but sometimes I use that to talk to somebody still, talk to my staff.
Mm-hmm.
So a typical day, 9 to 5, nonstop talking,
Wow.
talking to clients. And I have assistants who help me do the preparation of the forms.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then I get home and I have board meetings at 6 or
Wow.
at 7 in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes on weekends, I just crash. I do spend time for myself. I love to hike.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
my form of recreation to
Hiking,
clear
walking.
my mind. Walking, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Have you heard of the Camino de Santiago sa Spain?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the long
One
walk.
time I did that.
Okay.
Yeah. 130 kilometers for 4 or 5 days.
Wow. So you
It
must
was
be so fit. I mean,
well, that helps me balance, because I
mm,
have I'm doing a lot of work, so I need the time and the space, and that helps
physical.
me.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I understand that. But you've been doing the same kind of I mean, you've been living that kind of life for 23 years into your career.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Between my family, I have 3 daughters and I have 4 grandchildren. So when I'm not working or hiking, I spend time with the grandchildren. If
Okay.
my daughters call me to watch the kids, I drop everything I do and I watch the grandchildren. So I
Great.
enjoy that. That's
So
relaxing for me too.
so they live near you, around you.
Fortunately, I have the 3 daughters, they all live in the same city. So,
Uh, Tell me more about your daughters. What do they do? Or do they follow
oh
in your
yeah, I'm very proud
footsteps?
of them.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest daughter, she is a film producer.
Wow.
So she does commercials. And right now she said that she's doing um, a car commercial right now, like a truck SUV commercial.
Mm-hmm.
My middle daughter, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she has three children. My oldest daughter has one child. My
Okay.
middle daughter has three children, and she gets to stay at home. She has that privilege, and her
Mm-hmm.
husband has a good job, my good son-in-law. And she and my grandchildren are so cute. They model. I'm so proud of that.
Oh, really? Commercial
Yeah.
models?
Yeah, they do commercials, and they're also talented. You know, they play the piano, violin, they play soccer,
Mm-hmm.
they dance. So they make me very happy.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest daughter is a mental health therapist.
Okay.
So I'm proud that they
Mm-hmm.
followed their hearts,
Mm-hmm.
followed their own passion.
Just
They didn't
like
want to be a
you,
lawyer like me. No, they didn't want to be a lawyer like me though.
but you followed your passion. So that's a good
Yes,
thing. You
yes.
inspire them. Tell me, attorney, is it a challenge to be a woman in the industry that you're in?
In a way, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't let it get in my way. For
Mm-hmm.
example, in the beginning, it's and not just a female here, kasi
Mm-hmm.
minority din ang issue, ano?
Yeah.
Mga minority, female minority,
Mm-hmm.
those are could be barriers because in a predominantly let's face it,
Male
it's in a
dominated.
predominantly white,
Mm-hmm.
especially here in Utah, it's predominantly white.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just managed to find our way. I mean, this is why I'm independent. I like to be on my own. I have worked at a firm where everybody's nice,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, challenges as a woman, it's there, but we do have a lot of opportunities here. It's not as a challenging, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Here I haven't found it so much of a challenge as a woman.
Oh, good, good, good for you.
Yes, that's a positive
Mm-hmm.
thing, no?
Yes, it is. You must be quite strong as a person because
Yes,
mm,
I'm nice. That's
and
I'm
you have
nice,
and
and
you
I
have three
use that to.
daughters, so I'm sure growing up there were things that you wanted to teach them about surviving in this world. Can you tell us more about that as a
My
mom?
daughters.
Mm-hmm. What were your mommy advice, your favorite
I
advice to
now
give to
my
them?
only advice was follow your heart. That was
Mm-hmm.
my main advice to them, and they see me as an example, and I just follow my heart. I do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they didn't grow up so much. Fortunately, dito sa Utah, it's
Mm-hmm.
really nice. It's quiet. We don't have the same problems as the bigger cities like
Mm-hmm.
New York and Los Angeles.
Right.
And so, fortunately, I didn't have to tell them too much, advise them too much to
Mm-hmm.
be careful.
That's good. You've been very lucky. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
um, so at this point, what do you wish for your daughters and your grandchildren?
I wish for them happiness. Yun nga, I was just telling a friend, it's your
Mm-hmm.
life. Paint it the way you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Paint your life the way you want it. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I like to ask myself, how do I want to paint my world today?
Oh.
And it's your creation, it's your life.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, we don't have those barriers. We have the freedom that we have freedom here. We have
Mm-hmm.
opportunities here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would
So it's
share with them.
really a mindset, I suppose. Is that what you're saying? Like, for people to succeed, they just have to imagine it or to plan it that way. Is that your advice?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I like the way you said imagine
Uh-huh.
because that song Pure Imagination
Mm.
from the Willy Wonka,
Yes.
you know, that is I play that over and over in my head.
Mm, okay. So, what kind of music you like, or what books do you read?
I like self-help books. I like self-improvement books.
Mm-hmm.
I like spirituality. I like to meditate,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, mainly self-improvement.
Okay.
I like, yeah, as far as reading, those are the books that I like.
Okay. I see. So now that your daughters are, independent and living their lives, I'm sure you have a lot of time for yourself now. What else keeps you busy?
Uh, besides everything
Besides your
besides work,
work, other than work.
ano sa volunteering nga my time
Mm,
to the like the Filipino organization here. We have
mm,
the National Association, the
mhm,
National Federation of Filipino Americans, NAFA. It's a
mm,
national organization, so I volunteered there, and
mhm,
it's nice because we have, a sisterhood. Most of the uh, officers are females, and we have a sisterhood, and everybody's nice. And there I serve as legal counsel if ever they
mhm.
need any thing with legal issues. But that's what I do. I hike, I volunteer. Well, it's that volunteerism is really spending time with my friends because they're all my friends, and then they do a lot of service projects.
Okay.
I don't have time so much for the other service projects. This is my service project, is to work with them.
Okay. Do you often get to visit the Philippines?
Yes, actually, not too often. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
now that I remember, you see behind me, this is my office. This is a picture of
Mm-hmm.
my office.
Mm-hmm.
I travel a lot, a lot,
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Okay.
And this is because I can work remotely.
Mm-hmm.
My office is here. All my staff can do the filing preparations, but I talk to my client on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of days of the year I'm traveling. So I've already gone to Costa Rica this year. I'm going to Mexico. I'm going to Europe in
Wow.
August, and I'm going to the Philippines in October, and
Mm-hmm.
probably Macau. In 2021, I spent 2 months in Europe
Wow, traveler, huh?
while working.
While working. So do you have any travel tips to give people now? It seems a lot more people are traveling, getting out.
Yeah, travel tips for me, I pack very lightly
Mm-hmm.
because especially if you're going to Europe. And I think that's the most that's my biggest travel tip is when you're traveling, it's not like you're bringing your house with you, you know? To some people look like they're bringing their house. Now it's different. It's a different story. Yung mga balikbayan, ano? Of course, they
Mm-hmm.
bring a lot to
Yes.
bring home.
Yes.
But cheap flights. I am
Mm.
very good at finding cheap flights to stretch my dollars more,
Right.
Then I can go to more countries. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to spend too much on flights if you shop and around enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I do Airbnb. Sometimes I stay at hotels.
Mm-hmm.
But being a traveler, I've made enough friends around the world.
Oh, wow.
Wherever I go, oh, I'll meet up with them in Greece,
Mm-hmm.
I'll meet up with them or in Italy, and I really like that
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I live by myself, and I just need a different view. I
Mm-hmm.
don't mind my work. I love my
Mm-hmm.
work, but I need a different view.
Okay, that's so nice. You get to
Yeah, I'm
enjoy your
fortunate
time.
that way.
Now it's
Yeah.
possible with technology to work anywhere, so really, really good to do that if you can, if you have the time and resources. But what are your plans when you come in October, when you come home to the
Okay,
Philippines?
so I have a lot of plans.
Mm-hmm.
My friends and I have a group of friends. There's 5 of us in our organization and company.
Mm-hmm.
We are launching a healthcare staffing agency, recruiting, not staffing,
Mm-hmm.
recruiting agency.
Mm-hmm.
We're recruiting nurses and healthcare providers because we have such a shortage here in the United States, especially after COVID.
Right.
The nurses are tired. They're tired. They're burnt out. They don't want to work in the field anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know we have a lot of nurses and healthcare caregivers
Mm-hmm.
in the Philippines, and my mom would be proud of me if she were
Yeah.
alive today. If she
Yes,
was a
I'm
nurse,
sure.
she wanted me to be a nurse. And I said, no, mom, I want to be doctor. Oh, no, 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 nursing is better still. Okay.
Well, at least now you're doing something that's her field. So,
Right, exactly.
mm,
So for me, yung recruiting agency is gonna help a lot of our people.
mm-hmm.
Kasi nandito yung opportunity that they can get better jobs and then bring money home
Mm-hmm.
and live a better life. For some people, especially kung walang trabaho, no?
Mm-hmm.
They might be educated pero walang trabaho.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes for people who are hindi lang sa Philippines, kasi marami tayong Philippine nurses sa
Ibang bansa.
Middle East,
Yeah.
tsaka sa Europe, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So it's to be able to help them too in this process.
All right. Okay. So, but I think a lot of the government now is really trying to work on giving more opportunities here so that Filipinos won't have to leave their country. Diba?
Yes, I'm happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's good is we have virtual workers.
Mm-hmm.
Many American companies are using virtual workers and virtual assistants, right? And I'm proud that we have a lot of Filipinos who are virtual assistants.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have, a virtual assistant in the
Wow.
Philippines.
You
And
have.
so that's helping. And so in my businesses, I plan to use, our Philippine workforce.
So, speaking of businesses, I hear that you're also going into chocolate. Is that true?
Yeah, that goes back to the Willy Wonka Pure Imagination song.
Okay.
Yeah,
How did you
kasi
get into
as
that?
I was,
Mm-hmm.
what's that?
How did you get into that? Tell us more.
Oh my gosh, it was an inspirational moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was traveling, nandun ako sa Rock of Gibraltar. I was in Gibraltar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the top of Gibraltar, you could see there's a Gibraltar Strait. On one side is the Atlantic Ocean, on the other side is the Mediterranean. In front of me was Africa. You could see Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
Behind me is Spain, and it's like the rest of Europe, right? And over there is the Middle East, and over there is Asia. And there were like container ships moving, and I thought, oh my gosh, like this is the world, right? This is how the world goes around. This is how the world works. And then it was so beautiful up there that this song came to me, it's like, if you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it, because I felt like, oh my gosh, the earth is so beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And so simply look around and view it. Anything you want. No. How does that song go? Do you remember? Simply look around and view it. Want to change the world? There's nothing to it. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I could do anything. And then I thought, oh yeah, the world is my chocolate factory.
Okay.
And so I thought, oh yeah, chocolate. I thought I would just make a t-shirt that says the world is my chocolate factory. But then I thought, oh, why don't I get into chocolate too? And because I'm a traveler, what I plan to do is have the world is my chocolate factory London, the world is my chocolate factory Japan, the world is my they would be collectibles.
Okay, so that have you started on that business?
I already registered it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm already in touch with, I've already researched some places of Philippines. See, that's another one that I can support the Philippine economy, because I want to use the Philippine chocolate farms.
Oh,
Cacao
okay.
farms.
Cacao farms. Okay, so
Yeah.
you'll be doing a lot of things when you come in October.
Yes. Yes. Because I
Okay.
get bored easily. I have to I have to be doing a lot of things or I get bored.
I hope to get a chance to meet you in person when you come.
Yes, yes, I hope so too.
So, you know, I, it's been very interesting talking with you this afternoon, but I guess it's time for us to say goodbye for now until we meet again. But before you go, would you like to
Good.
say anything to our viewers? Maybe about
I'm just
immigration?
happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here. And I'm hoping to be able to go there and spend, maybe I'm gonna spend 3 months in the Philippines to do my all these businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to be able to help in whatever way I can.
Okay. Any message to moms and daughters? I mean, Mother's Day is this weekend already. So,
That's right.
mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, mother, stay beautiful, stay loving. Always, it's love. Love is the glue. And as long as you love your children, I know we raise our kids in different ways, but you know, love shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the kids grow up knowing what love is and they turn out to be good.
Wow, very well said. Thank you so much, Attorney Marlene.
Thank you, Dina.
I've enjoyed
It's a
talking
pleasure
with
to
you.
meet you.
Yes, and getting to
Thank
know
you.
you. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you, and I hope to meet you in person soon. I'm sure Manila will get to know you more when you visit this year, later this year. So thank you once again, Attorney Marlene Gonzales.
Thank you.
And thank you, mga katribo, for tuning in. Watch Pairfect Fridays at 2 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Again, this is Dina Ventura, and this has been Pairfect.